emotion of anger. And a lot has been said about anger within our society, but anger is not necessarily a negative emotion. And it actually can be quite healthy if experienced the proper way. So, if we look at anger, ladies and gents, we know that any emotion, for an example, anger, is not just a physical experience, it's also a cognitive experience. And anger is natural, just like happiness or joy or sadness or surprise or fear. Anger is a natural emotion. We're human, we experience the whole wheel of emotions. And I don't really think it's natural to never have experienced anger. We all get angry and irritated. Anger, sometimes known as wrath, is a very intense emotional reaction to a stimulus or an event. And usually, if you are experiencing anger in any way, shape, or form, you have been violated in some way. Someone has come in, they violated your physical boundaries, your emotional boundaries, your spiritual boundaries, and they have irritated you to such a level that you are now angry. And we can read anger on a person's face with universal facial expressions and micro expressions. We can also read anger within somebody's body language. If somebody has very closed off body language and they're exhibiting facial expressions of anger, you probably want to turn and literally walk the other way. On the front board, kind of similar to Sigmund Freud's iceberg theory of human consciousness, we have the anger iceberg, right? What are you showcasing to the world? What is your tip of the anger iceberg? And what is really underneath the surface of all of that anger? So you might have someone, that someone might be you from time to time, who is incredibly angry and they are showcasing anger to the universe. But then, as a psychology student, we have to ask ourselves, well, what's triggering the anger? What's really underneath the anger? It's kind of like that scene from Shrek, where Shrek tells Donkey that ogres are like onions, and you kind of have to peel the layers back on the onion. Well, humans are also like onions. We have so many layers to our emotional experiences, and just because your friend, your family member, or even you are exhibiting anger doesn't mean that you are angry. Maybe you're hurt. Maybe you are frustrated. Maybe you feel rejected. Maybe you're scared. Maybe you've been humiliated. And instead of expressing that emotion, because maybe subconsciously you're not even sure that that's the emotion you're experiencing, the costume, the mask we slam on our face is anger. We also see different levels of anger. And yes, there is a healthy level of anger. We have healthy, mild, serious, and of course, extreme. And we don't want to see people living within an extreme category of anger. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel that emotion. It's okay to deal with that and to try to move past it. What's not okay and what's not healthy is to never find a way to cope with your anger, to problem solve, to remove yourself out of the situation that's making you angry, and instead to kind of simmer and live in that extreme or serious level of anger escalation. So if we look at healthy anger, you might get angry sometimes, but it's kind of rare. You're able to express your emotions, maybe talk it out with somebody, express why you're angry and problem solve so that you don't have to experience that event again. Mild anger is where you might feel irritated or frustrated a lot of the time, and maybe just little things could trigger you into that serious or extreme category. And then people that are living in a serious or extreme level of anger, their anger can be triggered or escalated at the drop of a hat. And they are going to stay in that anger stimulus or that anger situation for much longer than someone who has a healthy handle on their emotions. We also see, courtesy of the television show Lie to Me, that character is showcasing the universal facial expressions, for anger, and we have the eyebrows drawn and together. We have the eyes glaring, and we have the narrowing of the lips. So if somebody was showcasing that universal reaction to you and they were flashing that micro expression, my advice would be to move away from them. They are incredibly angry and could result to physical violence. We also see the universal facial expression for anger on a female candidate. And again, the eyebrows pulled down, upper lids pulled up, lower lids pulled up, margins of the lips are rolled, and the lips might be tightened, right? So depending on who you're dealing with, they might be flashing different levels of these micro expressions. Again, a lot has been said about Kanye West, and obviously within the last 5 years, we've learned that Kanye has been quite open with his bipolar diagnoses. In this scene, Kanye was being interviewed, I think, in the UK, and we see him flashing the micro expression for anger. So in response to one of the interviewer's questions, and it's so quick. It's so quick. You have to really be paying attention to it. And in that screen grab, we can see that he goes from really joy to anger. But then the bigger question is, if we go back to the iceberg of anger, in that moment, was Kanye really angry, or was he humiliated or frustrated, rejected? It's sometimes difficult to tell.